Hello, Homeschool Academy. Welcome to this session of the Curriculum Fair. I am joined by Alejandro and Alexandria, who are going to take us into a special session on support and extension in math. So go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Kaylee. We are going to be going into some math support and extensions. Um, I'm Alejandro, as Kaylee mentioned, and I'm here with Alex. Alex, would you like to say hi?
Hello.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex. All right, let's dive in, shall we? So our connection before content today, we just kind of open it up is what is something that you and your student have enjoyed doing from your curriculum? It could be in a unit, it could be an activity, something you and your student have enjoyed doing together. And we'll go ahead and give you some time to think. You can put it into the chat, or you can even come off the mic and share that with us as well. Some hands-on learning, real world experiences. Yeah, so what kind of hands-on learning? So much there. Like, was it like Play-Doh? Was it like, building something? Um, yeah, and recently for me, I was building like this toothpick model with my daughter actually, and we were just making like this tower and seeing what would be like the most strongest structure. So that was really fun. Okay, all right. Well, thank you for sharing those in the chat. Making numbers out of objects in our house. Awesome. How do you do that, I wonder? Making numbers out of objects. Probably like stacking blocks, numbers three, something like that. We did patterns with blocks with my 4-year-old, so that was really fun. Let's keep going, shall we? And thank you for sharing. And before we continue on, we're just going to set our intention today for this workshop. So how would you like to show up today in this workshop? And you can keep this personal. You can write it down on a Post-it. So would you want to be fully present, open to explore new ideas or strategies, or maybe keeping your student at the center of your thinking today during this workshop? So go ahead and set your attention for this workshop today. I'll give you about 30 seconds for that. All right. Thank you so much for setting your intention today. Let's go ahead and move forward with our today's outcomes. And basically, we're just going to be incorporating support and extension strategies into learning opportunities based on students' needs. We're going to have some peer-to-peer discussions of academic roadblocks to be able to help identify instructional needs and determine the next best move for student learning, and then collaborating with each other. So, it's going along the lines with that peer discussion on how to support each other, extend these opportunities in learning. And we're going to go into some background knowledge now. And the first thing we'll be going into is the zone of proximal development. And with the zone of proximal development, it is that Goldilocks spot within learning, making it sure that the learning is not too difficult or not too easy. If it's too difficult, the student could get frustrated with the learning. If it's too easy, then the student's probably not really going to be growing with their learning. So you want to make it just right. So challenging enough to where they can meet that goal to show some growth. So that is the zone of proximal development, the ZPD, if you will. We're going to go ahead and move on with our support and extension differentiation guides. Now, each of these guides are really cool because if you have one of those students that's really ahead of the curve and you really are struggling with how to help extend their learning, these guides will help you with doing that. Or maybe you have a student that is having some challenges with their learning, and this support guide would also help you with that as well. I'll go ahead and take a quick minute here, a quick few seconds here to show you one of those. So here we have the 3rd through 5th grade. And you can click any of these. Like I said, if you need a student that needs help with like extending their learning, you can go ahead and click on that bookmark. It'll take you directly to that section in the guide. And based on what they're going on in their curriculum, operations algebraic thinking, or numbers and operations in base 10, these are just the different strategies that you could be using to help extend that learning. And again, there are sections for supporting, maybe making curriculum more accessible, and as well as for our multilingual learners. as well. So it's a pretty cool guide here, which you can definitely click on, and they are available on the Wire and the homeschool homepage on the Wire. And now I'm going to be handing it over to Alex, who is going to be going into some really cool, neat stuff with these guides.
All right. Thank you, Alejandro. We're going to go ahead and just take a little look at an example of how you might utilize this to get some thinking when we're stuck here. So for this example, we're going to look at standard 8.f.3, which is for 8th grade functions. And more specifically here, we're looking at y equals mx plus b format. All right, so in our example, Stephen here, 8th grader, our family partner is reporting Stephen struggles to keep track of what the letters mean when trying to apply functions to problem solving. Have any of you maybe run across this if you've got students old enough? What may have been causing that when you came across it, or what might you think may be causing it when you imagine you hit that grade level with your student? Okay. For the purposes of this example, if we could go to that next slide, please. We're going to go ahead and say that the underlying cause is that Stephen is relying on memorization of what the letters mean rather than understanding their conceptual roles. All right, so our goal is going to be to shift Stephen's thinking from that letter memorization to reasoning about a function's behavior across multiple representations. So how do we do that? If you go to that next slide there, we can see we've taken a little snippet from that exact guide that Alejandro was just sharing with us. So we found functions, and we can see it's inviting us to maybe try some hands-on activities, some visual aids, real-world examples, or step-by-step instructions. All right. And if any of those seem a little out of reach right now, if we're not that comfortable with math to start, we can even try just some simple language shifts, right? So if the problem is that we're trying to memorize what those letters mean, let's stop asking strictly what does that letter mean? Instead of what is B, we can say what is the starting point? Get us used to connecting the letter to its meaning. And instead of what is M, what is the amount that changes each time? All right, so we want to take the opportunity to give you guys the chance to get into this a little bit. And we've got two different application models that we can try out today. So the first is a fishbowl activity, which I'll throw back to Alejandro here to describe.
Yeah, so for this activity, we would like for you to think about a academic roadblock that you may be having with your student. So a challenging part, maybe it's either to extend or maybe, just supporting them within their learning. We would like for you to share your example with one another and then just support one another using those differentiation support guides and then just seeking clarification on how to use them. And so that's what we'll be discussing. So a current challenge that or academic roadblock that you may be having with your student. And then for the other one, we will be
All
going to
right.
go try it out. And Alex, yes, thank you.
Yeah, so our other option here, we've got a try it out, and we've created a note catcher document for you, which we can share in the chat. And this here, again, we can go through this together. Just remember, you don't need to know all of the math. You just need to help your student make sense of it, right? That's what you're here for. So the way you can use this little note catcher slash guide is I've broken it up into three categories. The first here is some helpful online resources. So you could click on the link here, the icon, and it'll take you to the website. And if you choose to partake in this activity later, we can get some notes down, any thoughts, questions, wonderings as we go through. So we've got Khan Academy and Desmos. We could talk about some general strategies such as sentence frames or questioning techniques, as well as I've got three little curated examples for us, one from each of the triple grade bands. So I selected the middle grades. We got a first grade example, fourth grade, and seventh grade. That way you could take it and run with it, either adjust it up or down depending on your own student's needs. Shall we get back to that main slide deck there, Alejandro?
Yeah, sure. Give me one moment here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here we are. Okay, so we're going to be going into breakout rooms and then see where we're going.
All right, everybody, welcome back from those breakout rooms. I hope that everybody in room one had some great discussion with Alejandro. In my room, we got a really good discussion going on Desmos, and so we want to just highlight that as one of the resources. So I'm here, and again, we just click on this icon here, and it can take us right to the website. And Desmos is, look at that, beautiful free math. We're going to go ahead and click on Open Graphing Calculator. This is going to be really helpful for anybody working with some students who are graphing and who might not remember how to graph themselves. So this is going to be a great resource. We can go right back to that 8.f.3 y equals mx plus b example. So if your student is working on graphing and you want to help make sure they're on the right track, we can go into this free graphing calculator and just type our equation in. So I'm going to make one up right now. Y equals 2x plus 5. And look at that, it's graphed for us. And if you don't remember what these numbers do and how they connect to this graph, you can always come in here and type in similar equations and see what changes. So for instance, y equals negative 2x plus 5. Right, so the only thing I changed was put a negative in front of that 2. And we can see here with our color-coded equations and lines, red and blue, that by doing so, all it did was change the direction. All right, so this is a wonderful online free resource that you can use. You can explore a little further how it can help with tables, but I hope that this helps you feel a little more confident in helping your student feel more confident. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so all right, Alex, thank you so much for that wonderful walkthrough of Desmos. It's such a great tool to be using for math. It's definitely help. It would definitely be helpful even for myself when I get to that level with my daughter, which is there. So thank you. All right. So the next thing is the family learning communities. So what are they? They're just a year-long coaching opportunity for family partners like yourselves to learn more about the best practices for curriculum and instruction at Visions. And they're really focused on the need for student and family impact and response, and just for support you and what you're doing with your student, whether it's looking through assessments, whether it's looking through curriculum, maybe even just how to question to be able to put that lift on the students for the students to think. And so they're just broken up into 8 different sessions throughout the whole year. They're all optional to show up, and it's just a really great time to really get support from other family partners and educators here at Visions. And we're going to be wrapping it up. And so you are invited to join us at our next family learning community session on April 14th. So that is, well, 2 weeks from now. And 3 weeks from now, excuse me, from 2 to 3, and you can sign up right there on that link if you go ahead and click it when you do have the deck. And we'll go ahead and see you next time. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Alejandro and Alex, thank you. Families, we will see you in the next session.